temperatures, so still remaining pleasant in any sunshine. But low pressure is still mostly dominating, particularly across western areas. A westerly flow still at times dragging in some showers and some longer spells of rain. And we could still see 1 or 2 showers, particularly across western parts of the UK. But once again, central areas, parts of the east will remain mostly dry. Plenty of clear skies, which means it is going to be turning cooler overnight. We could even see some mist and fog in prone areas by the morning. Some showers just starting to push into the southwest, otherwise mostly dry, and lows reaching around 7 to 8 degrees Celsius in Scotland. Heading into Tuesday, and it should be a fairly similar start as to what we saw this morning. Once again, plenty of clear skies, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, some mist and fog in places. Much cloudier start across Northern Ireland and northwestern parts of England, and a risk of showers here. Similar too across parts of Wales and southwest England, but for the bulk of the country, it should be a mostly dry and bright start to the day. And once again, across eastern areas, the sunshine will continue and it should remain mostly dry. But we'll see more clouds start to build in from the west. Still once again some showers. Southern parts of Wales, Devon and Cornwall could see plenty of showers by the time we reach the afternoon. Some could be heavy with some hail and thunder. And with that more cloud in the west, we could see more hazy spells of sunshine. But otherwise a mostly dry, settled day, fairly similar temperatures, highs reaching around 22 degrees Celsius in the southeast. Wednesday, though, perhaps a dry start in eastern areas, soon being replaced by further cloud and showers before we see persistent bands of rain push in from the west, turning quite blustery at times too, alongside some heavy bursts of rain. So quite an unsettled day on Wednesday, and the showers are still continuing for Thursday and Friday, but hopefully plenty of bright and sunny spells in between, where it should remain fairly pleasant.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
All right, I hope you can stay with us because we've got some brilliant front pages here. Is it war in the Labour Party? The left are plotting revenge after Angela's gone. We'll be telling you why. We've also got this visa threat to countries not taking back their migrants. Are Labour falling into reform's tune here? Let's find out a bit more about that. The brothers, of course, the famous brothers, Prince Harry and Prince William. Is it over for those two? Are they ever going to reconcile? And another one here, Badenoch and Starmer. Badenoch is offering Starmer to work with her. Is this really the end of the Tory party as we know it? That's what. See you shortly.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good evening, I'm Alex Armstrong and this is Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. Breaking tonight.
Making sure that we are able to return out of our countries people who have no right to be in our countries and send them back to their home countries.
But it seems to me the Labour Party is running scared of Reform UK by promising to threaten countries with visa cuts if they don't accept deportations. Meanwhile, if one wasn't enough from, here's another one. President Macron loses yet another Prime Minister. What a slap in the face. And
that I took and relied on. That advice was wrong. And that advice was wrong.
Oh, the unions have threatened the Prime Minister with a massive backlash if he reneges on Angela Rayner's workers' rights deal. And finally,
I was just so disgusted that I went nuts. I was absolutely infuriated. I said, do you know how you look to America?
yes, legendary comedian Graham Linehan has spoken exclusively to GB News for tonight's finale, and you won't want to miss it. Well, joining me this evening, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, the Reform Party member and former Tory chairman Jake Berry, and GB News contributor and comedian Leo Kirst. But first, before we get cracking, let's get your news with Katie Bowen.
Alex, thank you and good evening. The headlines at 11:01. Let's bring you an update to that news. Earlier this evening, emergency services have confirmed that Terminal 4 of Heathrow Airport is safe to reopen after firefighters earlier responded to a possible hazardous materials incident on site. Responding tonight, the Metropolitan Police has said in a statement that no trace of any adverse substance was found and that 20 people reported an injury. The force said none were deemed to be life-threatening or life-changing. Both London Fire Brigade and the Met say that inquiries into the incident are ongoing. Heathrow apologised for any disruption caused, adding that passengers should check their airline for more information on flights. Elsewhere, Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood says the UK could suspend visas from countries that do not play ball and agree to returns deals for migrants. Ms Mahmood has hosted a security alliance today alongside ministers from countries like America and Canada to discuss the rise of people smuggling gangs. It comes after more than 1,000 migrants crossed the Channel on the Home Secretary's first full day in office, bringing the total this year to more than 30,000 arrivals. Ms Mahmood has vowed to do whatever it takes to stop small boat crossings. Well, the new Home Secretary has also confirmed that she will not be running for Deputy Leader of the Labour Party. Sir Keir Starmer spoke to his MPs tonight as the contest gets underway, hitting out at Reform UK MPs as plastic patriots. Another person who's ruled herself out of the race is Louise Hay. In a statement, she said she'll remain on the back benches so she can, quote, speak plainly and campaign boldly. Labour MPs have until Thursday to secure the support of colleagues in Westminster if they wish to replace Angela Rayner. Candidates must get nominations from 80 MPs, that's a fifth of the total on the Labour benches, by 5 o'clock on Thursday. The result of the process will be announced on the 25th of October. To France, where tonight Prime Minister Francois Bayrou has been ousted from Parliament after losing a confidence vote. MPs debated and voted on the motion this afternoon, with Bayrou losing that vote 364 to 194. The country has been plunged into fresh political chaos as Bayrou is expected to tender his resignation tomorrow morning. The Élysée Palace has confirmed that President Emmanuel Macron will name a new Prime Minister in the coming days. Bayrou has only been in office since December. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's company Ineos has abandoned its UK investment plans over what they call Britain's unstable fiscal regime. The chief executive of Ineos's energy division said that the company will now divert plans to invest £3 billion to the United States instead. The company was forced to shut the Grangemouth oil refinery earlier this year. The UK does not consider Israel's actions in Gaza to be genocide, David Lammy has said in a letter sent when he was still Foreign Secretary. It comes as the Prime Minister has welcomed the President of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, to Downing Street this evening. A Downing Street spokesman said tonight that the leaders discussed, quote, the intolerable situation in Gaza, the need for an immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages, and a huge surge in humanitarian aid. And Prince Harry has spoken at the Wellchild Awards in central London, saying that the world has thrown a fair few challenges our way. The Duke of Sussex praised the organisation's work to shine a bright spotlight on the needs of children and young people living with complex medical conditions. He's in the UK for the first time in 5 months, and earlier he visited Windsor Castle, where he laid a wreath and privately paid respects to the late Queen. Sticking with royal news, the Princess of Wales joined her husband at an engagement to mark the 3rd anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II's death. Kensington Palace sources say the Princess of Wales was keen to join her husband to commemorate and celebrate the life of the late Queen. Those are your latest GB News headlines. So let's go back to Alex.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more, or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Yes, welcome to Patrick Christys' Late Edition with me, Alex Armstrong. Let's get straight to Tuesday's front pages, shall we? The Metro, 135 million. Cocaine ship bust is tip of the iceberg, they're saying. Well, there you go. The Independent union chiefs tell Prime Minister do not axe Rayner's workers' rights charter. The Eye, Labour left plots revenge on Starmer. Mail, just 7 miles apart, but there's still a chasm between the warring princes. And The Guardian revealed Johnson traded PM contracts for business deals. Has he been a bad boy? We'll find out. The Express, shocking toll of 500,000 sick days at tax offices. Telegraph, 4 in 5 hospitals are failing. The Sun, I'm a cop who set Maddie suspect free. The Times, visa threat to states not taking back migrants. There we go. All right, well, I think we'll lead on that time. So, of course, I've got my great panel with me here. Broadcaster and journalist Benjamin Butterworth, Reform UK Party member and former Conservative Party chairman, Sir Jake Berry. Look a bit sharper, Benjamin. Come on. No, it's late. I know it's past your bedtime. Look a bit sharper for the show. Come on. I know Patrick's not here, but I'm trying my best.
You don't stop, man.
I know. He's
I have a cold. That's the secret.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, and, of course, GBNews contributor and brilliant comedian Leo Kearse here. All right. OK, so, listen, we've got to start with this time stuff because I think most people will say, Leo, that they start as soon as Reform UK's party conference finished. I think within half an hour, they were out talking about deportations and visa crackdowns. I mean, they must be absolutely terrified of Nigel Farage at this point.
Yeah, I mean, how the Overton window shifts. Now, Labour are taking policies from Donald Trump. This would have been condemned by Labour just, a year ago, 6 months ago? But I've got to ask, I mean, this totally makes sense. So basically, they're going to threaten countries that don't take deported or deportable migrants and criminals and people like that back. They're going to say to those countries, well, if you're not going to take them back, we're not going to issue new visas to take more of your people to come here. Why wasn't this already standard practice? This just sounds like the most sensible thing in the world. But, I mean, it's got to be done because Labour really need to restore confidence, not just in the asylum system. They need to restore confidence in themselves. I mean, they keep saying, oh, we're going to stop the boats. And every day they seem to be getting more. We're 1,090 yesterday. It's mental. I mean, thank God autumn's coming.
What was really funny about this, before we move on, what was really funny about that whole thing is that for about 5 days there were no boats, and all these people on social media, I don't know if you were one of them, Benjamin, I don't know, but all these people on social media were going, look at what a great job the government's done. They were celebrating it. It was utterly hilarious. And then the day after they celebrated it, 1,097 came in one day. Just goes to show the government is not in charge of the weather, guys. So Jake, what do you make of this visa threat? Is it just about a bunch of hot air?
Completely and utterly unbelievable. So if you look at the coverage, I mean, look, great in theory, I agree with you. What a brilliant theory. It is never going to happen. One of the countries that the new Home Secretary has picked out in her sort of rant is India. Well, let's not forget, just a few months ago, when the government did a trade deal with India, the Indian government ran rings around Keir Starmer and his team. Not only did they give visa-free access to the United Kingdom under that trade deal, but they also said if you come here as an Indian national to work, you are exempt from national insurance, making it cheaper to employ people who come to the UK in terms of their own tax, cheaper for them to work here in the UK than employ Brits. And what really made me laugh about it was the quote that Shabana Mahmood gave when she went into the Home Office, and she said, and I have to put my specs on for this, she said, "Hello everyone, I'm going to bring my A game. I hope those of you who don't, well, you know where the door is." Well, let's wait and see. I wonder if there was a mass walkout of civil servants. I very much doubt it.
Well, I doubt there was anyone in the office. You probably there's an empty office. They're all working from home.
Exactly. And those of you know where the sort of off button is on your laptop when you're working from home in the home as a Home Office civil servant.
Yeah.
This is a joke. It's not going to happen. She can say what she wants. This is just fiddling while Rome burns.
But in fairness to her, I mean, she is one of the ministers who's managed to get some things done.
I mean, it's a pretty low bar, though. She's the most effective and efficient Labour minister in a completely failing government. Congratulations. Don't pass go, don't collect £200. Here's a wooden spoon.
Benjamin, good, bad, the ugly?
Us on the panel, or...?
Somewhere,
well, look, first of all, it's not correct that Indians can pay... We can't employ Indians on lower tax. It's only Indian companies, so let's just put that right, whether you've got your spectacles on or not.
So they don't pay national insurance, though, when they're here?
If they have to work for an Indian company and be seconded here, so we can't
so if I work for an Indian company, would I
is...
have to pay national insurance? Oh, yes, I would. So what I said is actually correct.
We don't have double taxation with 50 countries around the world. That's existed for a long time, and your government introduced deals with exactly the same clause in them. So, I think the arsonist telling us about how to prevent fires is a bit rich. But what I would say is that, actually, one of these countries is India. So it's India, Pakistan and Nigeria. Since Brexit, there's been a sharp rise in those three countries sending migrants here. That's true. Especially Nigeria. But, with India, it's actually really hard to get a visa to India, even a tourist visa. They're very strict. They're very unpredictable. I've been rejected for one. Carol Malone has been rejected for one on really dubious counts. And so, the idea...
I definitely won't be getting one. I did a whole story that sent the Indian national press into haywire when I criticised their rocket launch while we were still giving them foreign aid.
So the idea that there were no consequences, I think, is kind of absurd, right? Because if they don't take back their criminals or their unwanted people, then why should we let them in?
Yeah, I just feel, Leo, again, get back to the point here. This stuff should have been day one Labour policy, right? They should have said, well, here's how we're going to stop the boats, here's how we're going to smash the gangs. But instead, it's taken Nigel Farage to get to 30-something% in the polls, in a lot of the polls at least, for them to go, oh dear, we better do something about that.
And even then, I mean, nothing's actually going to happen. They'll have some ideas, they'll have committees, they'll have some focus groups, and then it'll get punted to the House of Lords and it'll get kicked around by various ministers and civil servants. Then nothing will happen, and then it'll be 5 years down the line, and we'll vote in more people who won't do it.
No, that may not be fair, because the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, our new Home Secretary, has said, and you've got to take this seriously, she is willing to risk a diplomatic spat. So, maybe it's going to happen this occasion. It absolutely won't, but maybe it will.
I think this is her just wanting to go to war with India. She just wants to carry on that rifle.
You might be right. Well, look, let's move on to the eye. A similar-minded story in some respects, because we're talking about the Labour left plotting their revenge. I'm sure Keir Starmer was absolutely in tears as he did his handwritten letter to Angela Rayner, just to appease the left of his party. I better write that in ink myself so they know I really care. No, sorry, Keir. That was my Keir Starmer impression, if you were wondering. It was not quite as good as my Donald Trump one, but there we go. I'm working on it, all right? But the Labour left are, of course, up in arms. They have been clutching their pearls since their Ange has been sacked and disgraced in front of the whole nation. And so now they want to stitch up the deputy leadership, apparently. And over the last few days, I've seen a consistent theme in the left-wing press. There's lots of ex-cabinet ministers now, even when they're sacked on their first day, sending warnings, subtle warnings to Keir Starmer. Benjamin, they're all going to start having a civil war. The Tories did it, aren't they?
Well, I'm surprised because they're going to do a really quick, short campaign to select this deputy leader. I thought the clever political thing to do was you put David Lammy in post, you can delay it by, say, a year, and then, possession is 9/10 of the law. He would effectively be the candidate. No one would run against him. And bluntly, appealing to Labour members, because he's a black man, you could say, well, are you really going to block the first, I don't know if it's the first, but probably non-white Deputy Prime Minister? I thought that would have been the clever thing, and then you avoid the debate. But now you're going to have this nightmare scenario, which is, in order to win over Labour members, which are not that left-wing, bearing in mind, lots of the left-wing ones have left over Gaza, if not over Keir Starmer's other policies. So you've got quite a moderate Labour membership, but you're going to have people appealing to their frustration at Keir Starmer while he's Prime Minister. And I think there's a serious risk that could really unravel his sense of authority over the party. And that could all happen by Christmas.
Yeah, so Emily Thornberry, who I hear is running already,
well, she's done every channel but GB News.
Oh, interesting.
Well,
that maybe
not going to win then, clearly.
Well, maybe because we've got two Union flags here on the front door, might send her flying away. But anyway, Emily Thornberry asking Labour MPs to back her apparently for Labour leaders. She said this in a message seen by Huffington Post UK. She said, welfare, Gaza, employment rights, wealth inequality, too many mistakes. We've been telling them and they aren't listening. That, to me, says something about the state of the Labour Party. Of course, Emily Thornberry was turned down for a shadow cabinet job. A cabinet job.
She was sacked.
Yes, she was, by Sir Keir Starmer in the first cabinet. And she was previously a shadow cabinet minister. Maybe she's plotting her revenge, Sir Jake.
Well, maybe. Just to pick up on something. Look, I don't claim to be the greatest knowledge on the internal machinations of Labour Party rules, but I think the rules do say that the Prime Minister can only nominate, well, in fact, I know the rules say that the Prime Minister can only nominate a deputy leader up and until the next Labour conference. That, I think, is partially why the time frame's been collapsed down so much.
Deputy leader doesn't mean Deputy Prime Minister, so it could be.
Well, we don't know if the person who becomes Deputy Leader will necessarily become Deputy Prime Minister. So, but, you know, the only way the hard left of the Labour Party could get someone on the ballot with 80 nominations is if they got Diane Abbott to count them for them. I mean, there is simply no chance whatsoever of the hard left getting their candidate. So what we will probably see is a progressive left. I mean, it's like, you know, the one thing you don't want to go hear when you hear the GP is that you have a progressive condition. The progressive left, which is the new word for the sort of real lefties in the Labour Party. And look, I disagree. I mean, Ben knows the Labour membership better than me, but, you know,
I was chair of Young Labour under Jeremy Corbyn.
The Labour Party members are to the left, and you've got the, you know, some of them may have left to the Corbyn Sultana Party, the Fruit and Nut Party, as I like to call it. But, you know, there's a lot of them left there.
Yeah. Well, so Jess Phillips has ruled herself out. Louise Haig's ruled herself out now.
Too much work for them. All the Labour MPs are like, oh, my God, doing all this work is tough enough already. I don't want another job.
What was interesting, though, is that Harriet Harman was out saying that this must be a woman. It must be a woman. Why?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you think we're past that whole identitarian, you know, defining people by their skin colour and their gender and all the rest of it. And also, if it's a woman, anybody could do it. David Lammy could just grow a cervix and be like, well, look, check me out.
Why does it have to do that? He just has to say I'm a woman.
Yeah, just has to say I'm a woman. But he also said men could grow cervixes.
That's true.
So maybe we should make him health minister. We can all have an abundance of cervixes.
The next leader of the Green Party who believes that you increase your breast size through hypnotism. I mean, there is something about left-wing politics and the belief in the supernatural ability to alter your body.
You believed in Liz Truss, so I won't take lectures on ridiculous beliefs.
Talking of supernatural abilities, I mean, the magical thinking in the Labour Party, they're facing a £50 billion black hole. Yeah. And I mean,
they've managed to more than double it in just 14 months. That is, and
it's not going to get better while they're steered by the unions and while they're steered by the left of the party.
Yeah, well, coming up in just a moment, because we've got loads more to bring you here. I mean, is the Health Secretary in serious trouble with the state of our hospitals? Is Boris a bad boy? We'll find out. But of course, here's a little clip for you, because we're going to go live to France. Emmanuel Macron suffers his latest slap in the face. Oh, yeah, maybe he's going to get another one. Anyway, this is Patrick Christys tonight, late edition with me, Alex Armstrong. See you shortly.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Today we have a special treat for you all because we're talking about John Stapleton.
Yes.
And he's reunited with his partner, boxing partner, on Breakfast Television.
On-screen wife.
For the first time in 17
I know.
years.
Well, we were 17 years together.
We were.
And then I don't know how long that we haven't actually presented it. When did it all? When did the wheels come off?
Nearly 10 years ago.
10 years ago. 10 years ago that the wheels came off and we went our separate ways, like sort of squeaky supermarket trolleys.
But stayed in touch. Stayed in touch.
Oh yes, of course. We carried on with our very sober lunches.
Indeed.
Well, my friend, absolutely great to see you.
And you, fella.
And what's wrong with you?
I've got a thing called Parkinson's disease, which is what they call a progressive illness, which is a polite way of saying it'll only get worse. But thinking positive about it, lots of people live a near normal life with Parkinson's, so I'm aiming to do the same. I'm taking the tablets, I'm doing the exercises my expert tells me I should do. I'm speaking as well as I can because I need a speech therapist to talk more slowly and more clearly. I also have difficulty swallowing, and the latest thing is I've had difficulty with my balance, hence this stick I've got by my side all the time now. So, but, you know, I'm learning to live with it, doing my best to overcome it.
John, what is it? What is Parkinson's? Those are the effects it's having on you, but where's the problem? Why does it come about?
It's a neurological disorder, which means your body doesn't coordinate as it used to do. It's the fastest growing neurological complaint in the world, believe it or not. We don't quite know why, possibly because more of us are living longer. But, you know, as I say, you can live a near normal life with it, and so if you behave yourself, which I'm attempting to do.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight, a late edition with me, Alex Armstrong. Well, to France now, where tonight Prime Minister François Bayrou has been ousted from Parliament after losing a confidence vote. MPs debated and voted on the motion this afternoon, with Bayrou losing the vote 364 to 194. That's quite a whopping loss there, isn't it? The country has been plunged into fresh political chaos, and Bayrou is expected to tender his resignation tomorrow morning. Well, the Elysee Palace has confirmed this evening that Emmanuel Macron will name his new Prime Minister in the coming days, and Bayrou has only been in office since December. Well, I'm now joined by journalist Alex Seal. Thank you so much, Alex. Lovely to see you again, my friend. Not good news for Emmanuel Macron, let alone France. What is the state of play now? Is it looking more and more likely that Emmanuel Macron's going to have to call a snap election?
I don't think he will call a snap election because Emmanuel Macron didn't want to call a snap election. So a few ministers, a few potential prime ministers are circulating. Éric Lombard, Macron's finance minister, who would represent continuity. He can speak to the left and to the right. Someone called Bernard Cazeneuve, who is a former socialist prime minister. He could also be a candidate, or Xavier Bertrand, who's a heavyweight right-winger. But the reality is none of them can fix what's happening because Parliament is divided after the snap elections last year. And so, in other words, it will not change anything. There is a crisis in France. People are furious, and it's not just about politics. It's daily life, the cost of living, the debt is high, austerity, and the country is preparing for nationwide strikes on the 10th of September. So it's not looking good at all.
Well, you're starting to sound more and more like the United Kingdom, Alex, unfortunately. But talking of which, your departing Prime Minister has warned MPs not to turn into high-tax Britain in a parting shot before he leaves government. So Beirut has taken shots fired almost at Prime Minister Keir Starmer over here. What's the feeling in France about what's happening here in the United Kingdom? Are you looking at us and going, oh my goodness, what is happening to Great Britain? And we're looking at you going, what's happening in France?
I know exactly. So people in France were very shocked a few months ago that Britain had lots of prime ministers in the space of like 5 years. So so really the two countries it's a bit the same, but it gains politically to Marine Le Pen because she's been demanding snap elections because she knows that her party, the National Rally, would do very well, but Macron isn't going to dissolve the National Assembly. And one has to note that Le Pen has never won a presidential election. She does well in the polls, but has never won an election. And the left want Emmanuel Macron to resign. He's not going to resign. So really, the president refuses to resign. Parliament refuses to cooperate. So France is stuck in paralysis, and ordinary people are losing faith in politics.
Yeah, well, Alex, thank you so much for joining me there from France. Really appreciate your insights there. I'll bring it back to the panel here in the studio because well, this is quite embarrassing, Sir Jacob. The departing French Prime Minister is taking shots at our Prime Minister, going, "Oh, it's pretty bad what's going on over there. So don't worry, don't turn." It's almost like, I mean, from what Alex is telling us there, the journalist in France, he's telling us, it's bad where we. I mean, they've had successive Prime Ministers, but don't be as worse as us.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately becoming a bit of a habit, sort of international leading politicians taking a pot shot saying how terrible Britain is, whether it's J.D. Vance and President Trump on free speech, or now Mr. Bayou, the departing French Prime Minister, actually trashing Keir Starmer's entire economic policy, saying that putting up taxes only leads to exploding house prices in Milan. What I think is really concerning about this, the serious point about this story is this is a crisis that has been forced upon the French government because their spending's out of control. They haven't run a balanced budget for 50 years. Well, we haven't run a balanced budget for a very long time in the UK. I don't know if it's 50 years, but it's not good. Their debt to GDP ratio is over 100%. Well, guess what? So is the UK. And the real crisis has been caused by the bond market. The 30-year gilt yield in France, I think from memory, is about 4.6%. It's over 5%. In the UK. So that barometer of the market's view of the health of your economy, they actually think France, hit by this crisis, is in better shape than Britain. I think this could be coming to the UK very, very soon.
That'll be changing tomorrow morning, because I mean, the one thing, so Beirut was bringing through 44 billion euros of austerity plans. Basically, he was going to end some public holidays. He was going to basically do all the things that we need to do. The same things we need to do in this country. We need to raise retirement ages. We need to stop splashing money up the wall on, rainbow flags for Eritrean jihadis. There's all this stuff we spend money on.
Cycling lanes, get rid of those.
Yeah, there's all this money we spend money. All this stuff we spend money on is absolutely pointless. If anything, it gets in the way. So we need to slash public spending. France needs to slash public spending. The fact that now they won't be able to slash public spending, and there's all this political turmoil, I think this could precipitate some sort of debt crisis for France, possibly an IMF bailout, and that could spread. That contagion could spread to the rest of Europe.
Benjamin, it seems Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron very friendly with one another. They're both in serious trouble with their economies looking completely flat. Their party's not being able to get anything done. I mean, I would say France is probably looking worse just because they actually can't pass legislation, unlike Keir Starmer who can. But he could be on their way very soon when we hear about this big Labour split as well coming.
Well, the parliamentary maths are very different in France, so that's why they keep swapping prime ministers, because any difficult decision doesn't get through. It's why people voted for a Labour majority here, because they didn't want this kind of
people
instability.
Didn't vote for it. The Tories just completely collapsed.
There is obviously the point about debt isn't really a recent one. It's one that we failed to deal with for an awfully long time. And no one has got the backbone in British politics to do the one thing that's necessary, and that is to slash the hundreds of billions that goes to pensioners. And I know when I say that, everyone's screaming at the telly, but the idea that we give huge amounts of money, like 300 quid Christmas bonuses to people in £1 million houses, is patently absurd. I agreed with cutting the welfare budget on things like PIP and people that are claiming to have mental health that don't really have serious conditions. Definitely cut that. But you've also got to cut the pension bills.
Benjamin, the thing is, the reason why people scream at you down the TV when you say that is because you never call for mass deportations of illegal migrants who are costing this country tens of billions of pounds. You never say we should be cutting foreign aid, which is also not spent on British people.
Foreign aid is hardly anything now.
But it doesn't matter. Every penny that's not spent on British people while you're calling for them to suffer further, that's the reason why they're screaming. You might have a point if you said, actually, we need to cut all those things and that too to balance the budget. They might go, maybe that's reasonable, we can get behind it. But when you say things like that, they can't agree with it. And that's the problem Labour's got, is that it wants to punish the British people before it takes the tough action necessary to clean up the rest of the mess that isn't even our problem.
Well, I tell you what, in April next year, the cost of pensioners will go up by £40 billion.
But there are people,
that's what it goes up by each year. This is insane. And they're the richest people in the country.
And listen, yes, maybe we need a conversation about it. However, they have worked their backsides off in this country.
And they've been more than rewarded. And what are the chances of anyone else?
I just did a monologue tonight on this guy. He's come over here illegally to the United Kingdom, and he's come over here on a boat. He's got a brand new studio apartment. Then he's brought his whole family here on top of that, costing us tens of thousands of pounds. And then they put him in a 4-bedroom house.
Yeah, and I'm happy to say that's wrong.
Happy to say deport him.
I also
say you should deport him. Do you agree?
Yeah. Well, not. I don't know what he's done.
I did it right. That's the show. Scrap it. We're done. No. Listen, this is the thing, right? That's my argument, see. But let's move on, because I want to talk about the Daily Telegraph's front page here, Leo, because 4 in 5 NHS hospitals are apparently failing. Yeah. Right? This is the true scale of broken health service is laid bare by Streeting's own league tables. He's marking his own homework, and even that's down.
Well, and this is another case where the government is chucking more and more money at a problem, and it's not doing anything because, well, we've got open borders. We're not just providing NHS. We're not providing health care for British people. We're providing health care for the world. If you have the misfortune to have to go into a hospital in London, which I've done a couple of times in the past few years, it's honestly, you would think you were in a foreign country. It's foreigners treating foreigners. It's insane. And it's all being paid for by us. And I just don't understand. I understand some of those people are here earning money, paying tax, whatever, but it just doesn't seem a sustainable, tenable system.
OK, Benjamin, briefly, and also yourself.
It's totally unfair to blame the government for this, because it's Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary. He has introduced this league table in order to identify who's failing, and he said...
Apparently all of them.
And he
Pretty
said...
much.
And he said that if they don't improve, then the pay of their senior management will be docked. So actually, I think Wes Streeting puts it. He says sunlight is the best disinfectant. I think
that's why they're failing.
I think we should.
You need to use domestos.
Yeah, he sounds like Trump, doesn't he? Just stick a bit of bleach in there.
Use the bleach. I don't know.
But I think this is a good thing, because now we know the problem, and you can't fix things you don't know.
So I think the great challenge is the only solution that the Labour Party has to this is to chuck more money at the problem. And in the most ridiculous things as well, paying some of the highest paid people in our society, like doctors. Oh, let's just give them a massive pay rise and hope things get better. It won't. Chucking money into a black hole does not become a good idea because you put an NHS sign on it.
Absolutely.
We've got to look at real reform.
Yeah, it's a bit of a religion, isn't it? Anyway, look, coming up, I've got 2 very special guests for you, because Ben Leo and Bev Turner are waiting in the wings live in Washington, DC. Here they are. You do not want to miss this. It is so lovely to see you both. This is Patrick Christys tonight. Later from me, Alex Armstrong. Stay with us. We're going to go to those 2 very shortly.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Heading into tomorrow, and we'll see more sunshine across eastern areas. Can't rule out some showers across the west though. Fairly similar temperatures, so still remaining pleasant in any sunshine. But low pressure is still mostly dominating, particularly across western areas. A westerly flow still at times dragging in some showers and some longer spells of rain. And we could still see 1 or 2 showers, particularly across western parts of the UK. But once again, central areas, parts of the east will remain mostly dry. Plenty of clear skies, which means it is going to be turning cooler overnight. We could even see some mist and fog in prone areas by the morning. Some showers just starting to push into the southwest, otherwise mostly dry, and lows reaching around 7 to 8 degrees Celsius in Scotland. Heading into Tuesday, and it should be a fairly similar start as to what we saw this morning. Once again, plenty of clear skies, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, some mist and fog in places. Much cloudier start across Northern Ireland and northwestern parts of England, and a risk of showers here. Similar too across parts of Wales and southwest England, but for the bulk of the country, it should be a mostly dry and bright start to the day. And once again, across eastern areas, the sunshine will continue and it should remain mostly dry. But we'll see more clouds start to build in from the west. Still once again some showers. Southern parts of Wales, Devon and Cornwall could see plenty of showers by the time we reach the afternoon. Some could be heavy with some hail and thunder. And with that more cloud in the west, we could see more hazy spells of sunshine. But otherwise a mostly dry, settled day, fairly similar temperatures, highs reaching around 22 degrees Celsius in the southeast. Wednesday, though, perhaps a dry start in eastern areas, soon being replaced by further cloud and showers before we see persistent bands of rain push in from the west, turning quite blustery at times too, alongside some heavy bursts of rain. So quite an unsettled day on Wednesday, and the showers are still continuing for Thursday and Friday, but hopefully plenty of bright and sunny spells in between, where it should remain fairly pleasant.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored. Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, a shocking attack in Charlotte, North Carolina, where a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, Irina, I think this is Irina Zarutska, I apologise if I've butchered that again, was fatally stabbed on a city train. Surveillance video shows the seemingly random assault. The suspect, a 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown Jr., has a long criminal record and now faces a murder charge. Well, her death has sparked national outrage and renewed the debate over crime and public safety. Well, to talk about this, I'm now joined by presenters of GB News' new show, The Late Show Live. Ben Leah and Bev Turner are joining me. Lovely to see both of you. Ben, I've got to start with this story with you because this has captured social media, even over here in the United Kingdom. We were talking about this yesterday. Democrat on the show was telling me, Ben, that it's just a random man pulled out of a statistic because people want to be racist. What do you make of it? What do Americans make of it?
Well, look, America, Alex, good evening, and good evening to viewers. America has been left stunned by this incident. It happened in August, but it's only taking prominence now because, as you've said, the video has been finally released by the authorities. It's circulated online. Of course, we can't show the full video on TV, even at this hour, but the full version is doing the rounds online. And I have to say, it really saddens and shocks the soul. She was a young girl, a 23-year-old, a Ukrainian refugee. And can you imagine? She left war-torn Ukraine to come to the United States for peace and refuge, and then this guy here, the monster behind her, a 34-year-old American guy, he was homeless, decides to target her on a bus. She didn't see it coming. She was stabbed in the neck multiple times. I mean, as I said, it's a very, very shocking and saddening video. But the big point about this story, Alex, is that for me it has memories of Callaghan in Nottingham, the guy who went on the Nottingham murders some years ago. He was released by the authorities and allowed to roam the streets despite previous criminal records, despite very clear mental health problems. This chap here had at least a dozen court appearances in recent years for violent robberies. He was under court instruction for mental health reports which hadn't been done. There were some delays into his mental condition, and it meant he was allowed to roam the streets of Charlotte in North Carolina and carry out the attack as he did in August. And there's been some audio released from that video earlier this evening. The guy can be heard saying, after he stabs the poor young girl to death, that he got the white girl. He got the white girl. So it's clear it's a racist attack. There's outrage this side of the pond from the likes of Elon Musk and Republicans because liberal media here, including, maybe it's changed in the last few hours, but including the likes of the New York Times, who haven't even bothered to report it. And the suggestion is, could you imagine if it was the other way around, if it was a white perpetrator on a black young girl on a bus who was stabbed in the neck, it would probably receive a lot more reaction than this poor girl has received.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. That's my opinion, Ben, there. And Bev, we've had a lot going on here in the UK, back here. There's lots of sensational politics over the last 24 hours. Let me just show you this clip, and I really want to get your opinion on this.
Need all the political talents on the right of centre, putting their shoulder to what needs to be done for the country. I think if you start from the point that you need everybody with the passion to make this country a better place at the helm, then I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, Bev, that's Nadine Dorries there calling for Boris and Farage, two men who, of course, have been in the United States, met President Trump. She wants them to come together. What should we make of that, Bev?
Well, Nigel Farage has obviously spoken out and said that won't be happening. And I can tell you from the conversations that I've had here in Washington, in and around the White House, people are asking, Boris who? They know Boris Johnson. He's one of the few people, of course, who Americans are very familiar with from the British political scene. But the feeling here very much is that his career in politics is gone. The fresh Reform Party with Nigel Farage at the helm is certainly who people here are talking about. They've discounted the idea here that Boris would bring anything to the Reform Party on top of what they see as already being Nigel leading from the front. I was in the Oval Office with Nigel just at the end of last week. And so I think the feeling is that that's not going to happen, and there's no enthusiasm for that to happen here either in Washington. And if I can just point, Alex, if I can just show you behind us, there was a big story this week. End of last week, Donald Trump was asked by a reporter in the White House what he made of what was a 44-year-old peace vigil. Behind all of the shots that you've seen us doing, there was a tent just there where that red umbrella now is, a blue tent. It was like a tarpaulin. It wasn't particularly pretty, I can't lie. It messed up the back of our shot, but it had been there for 44 years since one guy put it up to basically protest against the use of nuclear arms. A reporter mentioned to Trump that it was there. He said, take it down, and guess what? It's gone. It's been taken down. I am going to go and talk. We're going to do a little piece for the digital space on GB News. I'm going to go and have a chat with who is there now and find out what happened to that and where they've gone. And is it still the same person who's sat under that umbrella? And you're going to do something for digital as well, aren't you, Ben?
Yeah, just on the tent points, it might seem a very trivial little anecdote, but actually for me, I think maybe you'd agree, Bev, it just shows the willingness this side of the pond for this administration to get things done. Clean up cities. With regards to the poor girl in Charlotte in North Carolina, there's now talk of getting the National Guard into very deprived and crime-ridden cities, so he is getting things done again, President Trump, despite calls from the left that he's some sort of authoritarian. He's cleaning the city up. He's removed the tent. It was a peace vigil. It turned into some far-left radical trans-Palestine vigil over the past couple of weeks, so it's gone. Separately, I will be doing a separate YouTube digital effort on guess who's coming to the state visit, Alex, in, well, apart from our great Beverly Turner, but there's some very special guests apparently turning up at Windsor Castle with President Trump, not least Larry Fink.
Wow. Big stuff, guys. Listen, Ben, Bev, I will miss you guys so much over here in the UK, but I cannot wait to see what you do with The Late Show Live. I'll hopefully see you both very soon. I can't wait for that show to start. Thank you so much for joining us both. That's been brilliant. I'll bring you back to my panel here because if we talk about Boris there, we want to carry on the conversation. We've got a little bit of time here to talk about. On the front page of The Guardian today, revealed Boris Johnson traded PM contacts for business deals. So, Jake, of course, you knew Boris Johnson. What do you make of this headline? It's a bit about boy.
No, I mean, the first thing is I don't think I haven't seen the Guardian's coverage. I don't think we've got enough information about it, but I will read it with interest. I think there's two things. We've got to ask how you know, when people leave politics, how do we expect them to make a living? We don't sort of, you know, pay them an income for the rest of their life. People have to be free to go and pursue their own business career. I haven't seen any, I mean, it's quite scant, the coverage on the front page of The Guardian. I haven't really seen any more than that. Let's wait and see. But I did just want to pick up on this question about Nadine Dorries and her comments about Boris Johnson. I regard both Boris and Nadine, they are good friends of mine. I think she has made a misstep.
So do I.
I don't think she's... You know, I am a Conservative who has gone to reform. I didn't suddenly turn up and say, you know, well, actually, because I'm here now, it's all OK, don't worry, I've arrived. Nothing you've done before works and you need to take my advice. I think Nadine will be a huge asset. She's wrong about Boris. The Reform membership don't want Boris. I don't really think the British people have yet forgiven him about the big surge in immigration we saw. So, look, you know, I'm a friend of both of them, but Nadine is wrong.
We're going to get onto this story a little bit more. There's a few bits we'll read out to you, but of course, coming up more on the front page, we've got Africa wants reparations again, apparently. What do you feel about that? You're going to be paying reparations, everybody? I don't know. I don't think I really want to be paying any more taxes, let alone reparations to some random country in Africa. Anyway, this is Patrick Christys tonight, late edition. Me, Alex Armstrong. See you shortly.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. An unsettled couple of days to come across parts of Spain and Italy with some heavy showers around. But for the Canaries, actually, next couple of days, largely fine, apart from the odd shower around. Plenty of sunshine, actually, for parts of Portugal and western Spain. But for eastern Spain, the Balearics, parts of Italy, southern France, some heavy and thundery downpours around. But for much of Greece and Turkey, fine a couple of days to come, with temperatures here reaching the high 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in a chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christys tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christys tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday Five.
You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, how do you feel about reparations tomorrow morning? Well, the African Union has joined calls for us to pay them. Pay reparations for what it calls historic crimes of colonialism. At the summit in Ethiopia, African and Caribbean leaders vowed to work together on demands ranging from financial compensation to a return of cultural artefacts. The African Union says systematic injustice still stems from imperial rule, while Britain has so far rejected all such claims. Well, let's get cracking. Benjamin, this is your sort of wheelhouse, isn't it? Have you paid reparations today?
It's not yet midnight, so maybe I have. I'll check again in the morning. If you're watching this in the morning, I haven't. But what I would say is that I actually think that when you call it reparations, it gets people riled. But when I call it sort of international aid or overseas development, I think it's in Britain's self-interest. You look at what China has done so effectively, investing in lots of African countries, Caribbean countries, many of which are in or have been in the Commonwealth, and they are getting soft power for it. Barbados, the first country to get rid of the British head of state in a generation, and it's had lots of Chinese money. Its Prime Minister said Britain had failed to pay for the costs it left us with of underdevelopment. And so I think it would be in our interest to help these countries. The other fact I'd point out is that Africa is expected to be the great growth success of this century. So we should help them.
It's meant to be the growth success. Do you think we should pay reparations to Ethiopia?
Ethiopia wasn't colonised.
Exactly, so I don't know why they're on there calling for it. And actually, if you look at the legacy...
then, and I knew the answer.
I'm very impressed. And if you look at the GDP per capita of countries that were colonised compared to countries that weren't, in fact, the fact that they have had the gift of the English legal system, development in that country, they are, far and away much more wealthy than their near neighbours who weren't. There was a lot of positives, there was a lot of negatives, except there was a lot of positives about that, colonisation, which they never ever talk about.
Well, Leo, listen, I just have this weird feeling of giving money to people that a lot of time hate us for for colonialism. So, here's some more money. We want more. It's always more.
Yeah. Do you want the Chagos Islands on top of that? I mean, when I heard about reparations, I thought, brilliant. How much are we getting? We should be getting reparations from these people. We ended slavery. Britain abolished slavery. We spent billions in today's money abolishing it. We lost thousands of our seamen's lives. And frankly, I'm suspicious of the loyalties of non-native heritage politicians who lobby so hard for their heritage countries. I mean, are they truly British, or do they really want to be a politician for the Caribbean?
Yeah, or maybe we should get reparations here in the UK from the Italian government.
I was still waiting for the
Roman Empire. I don't think France have got any money left, but of course we were invaded in 1066 by the Normans. In fact, the Normans weren't French in the first place. They were actually the people of the north. They were a Viking rump that remained in northern France. So maybe the Scandinavian countries should be paying both France and Britain reparations for the Viking invasion.
Canute ruled this country after invading us, didn't he? And the Anglo-Saxons from all the way back up in Germany, Benjamin. Have you been on to them?
Well, I think the problem with some reparation activists is that if you talk in sort of straightforward terms, then you actually raise the question of, well, the Arab Empire traded more slaves than the British Empire ever did, and it went on for a long time. In Yemen,
testicles off.
In Yemen, slavery was decriminalised. In Mauritania, it was only made illegal about 15 years ago. And so there are actually present problems and consequences of slavery. There are more slaves in the world now than there's ever been. We just don't trade them with ships. So why don't we deal with that first?
That is absolutely spot on, and I completely agree with you, Benjamin. There we go. Oh, that's one to end it on tonight, isn't it? Right. Right, let's go through your headlines one more time, shall we? Let's start off here by the looks of it with The Guardian. Revealed Boris Johnson traded Prime Minister contacts for business deals. The Telegraph, 4 in 5 NHS hospitals are failing. Metro, 135 million cocaine ship bust is tip of of the iceberg. The Independent union chiefs tell Prime Minister don't axe Rayner's worker rights charter. The Eye. Labour left plots revenge on Starmer. Daily Mail just 7 miles apart, but there's still a chasm between the warring princes. The Express. Shocking toll of 500,000 sick days at tax office. The Sun. I'm a cop who set Maddie suspect free. The Times. Visa threat to states not taking back migrants. Well, there you have it, everyone. That's all of your headlines for tomorrow. And that's all we've got time for. If you're waking up in the morning, good morning. I hope you enjoy breakfast. If you're going to bed, have a good night's sleep. At least Andrea Jenkins isn't singing tonight.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Heading into tomorrow, and we'll see more sunshine across eastern areas. Can't rule out some showers across the west, though. Fairly similar temperatures, so still remaining pleasant in any sunshine. But low pressure is still mostly dominating, particularly across western areas. A westerly flow still at times dragging in some showers and some longer spells of rain. And we could still see 1 or 2 showers, particularly across western parts of the UK. But once again, central areas, parts of the east will remain mostly dry. Plenty of clear skies, which means it is going to be turning cooler overnight. We could even see some mist and fog in prone areas by the morning. Some showers just starting to push into the southwest, otherwise mostly dry, and lows reaching around 7 to 8 degrees Celsius in Scotland. Heading into Tuesday, and it should be a fairly similar start as to what we saw this morning. Once again, plenty of clear skies, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, some mist and fog in places. Much cloudier start across Northern Ireland and northwestern parts of England, and a risk of showers here. Similar too across parts of Wales and southwest England, but for the bulk of the country, it should be a mostly dry and bright start to the day. And once again, across eastern areas, the sunshine will continue and it should remain mostly dry. But we'll see more clouds start to build in from the west. Still once again some showers. Southern parts of Wales, Devon and Cornwall could see plenty of showers by the time we reach the afternoon. Some could be heavy with some hail and thunder. And with that more cloud in the west, we could see more hazy spells of sunshine. But otherwise a mostly dry, settled day, fairly similar temperatures, highs reaching around 22 degrees Celsius in the southeast. Wednesday, though, perhaps a dry start in eastern areas, soon being replaced by further cloud and showers before we see persistent bands of rain push in from the west, turning quite blustery at times too, alongside some heavy bursts of rain. So quite an unsettled day on Wednesday, and the showers are still continuing for Thursday and Friday, but hopefully plenty of bright and sunny spells in between, where it should remain fairly pleasant.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is-
you're
the failure is-
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
A very, very good evening to you. This is GB News Tonight with me, your host, Martin Daubney. Coming up on the show tonight, in a minute now, we'll be taking you live to central London, where Prince Harry will be addressing the Well Child Awards on his UK visit after visiting the late Queen's grave earlier on today. But in the meantime, as the new Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood has a migrant mountain to climb, I'll be talking to Maggie Oliver about why deporting grooming gang perpetrators to Pakistan surely has to be the government's top priority. And meanwhile, I'll bring you an exclusive story revealing that 321 companies have faced fines totalling an astonishing £18 million for hiring illegal migrant workers, and that is just in one quarter, and that includes the government contractor. Now, we'll also be joined by the man behind the analysis that suggests that the total Chagos deal could cost £47 billion, £12 billion more than even feared, and dwarfing that figure of £3 billion given by Sir Keir Starmer. Plus, the debate of the day, is it time for a Tory reform pact? We'll be holding a blockbuster debate live in the studio, a finale between Lee Anderson and Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg. That's all coming on tonight's blockbuster of a show, but first, here's Katie Bowen.
Martin, thank you. The headlines at 1 minute past 7. And let's start with some breaking news tonight. Firefighters are currently responding to a possible hazardous materials incident at Heathrow Airport. Heathrow have confirmed in a statement that Terminal 4 check-in has been closed and evacuated while emergency services respond to that incident. Passengers are being asked not to travel to Terminal 4, and National Rail have also confirmed that trains are not stopping at the terminal. London Fire Brigade said specialist crews have been deployed to carry out an assessment of the scene, and part of the airport has been evacuated as a precaution while firefighters respond. We'll bring you more on that breaking story and more pictures on that breaking story as we get them. To France, where tonight Prime Minister François Bayrou has been ousted from Parliament after losing a confidence vote. MPs debated and voted on the motion this afternoon, with Bayrou losing the vote 364 to 194. The country has been plunged into fresh political chaos as Bayrou is expected to tender his resignation tomorrow morning. President Emmanuel Macron faces a choice between calling a snap election or picking a fifth Prime Minister in less than 2 years. Bayrou has only been in office since December. Back at home, the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood says the UK could suspend visas from countries that do not play ball and agree to returns deals for migrants. Ms Mahmood has hosted a security alliance today alongside ministers from countries like America and Canada to discuss the rise of people smuggling gangs. It comes after more than 1,000 migrants crossed the Channel on the Home Secretary's first full day in office, bringing the total this year to more than 30,000 arrivals. Ms Mahmood has vowed to do whatever it takes to stop small boat crossings. Well, the new Home Secretary has also confirmed that she will not be running for Deputy Leader of the Labour Party. Labour MPs have until Thursday to secure the support of colleagues in Westminster if they wish to replace Angela Rayner. Candidates must get nominations from 80 MPs, a fifth of the total on the Labour benches, by 5 o'clock on Thursday. The result of the process will be announced on the 25th of October. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's company, Ineos, has abandoned its UK investment plans over what they call Britain's unstable fiscal regime. The chief executive of Ineos's energy division said that the company will now divert plans to invest £3 billion to the United States instead. The company was forced to shut the Grangemouth oil refinery earlier this year. And Prince Harry has arrived at the Well Child Awards in central London after visiting Windsor Castle earlier, where he laid a wreath and privately paid respect to the late Queen. He's in the UK for the first time in 5 months. The Duke of Sussex has been patron of Well Child, a charity which supports seriously ill children and their families, for 17 years. And sticking with royal news, the Princess of Wales has joined her husband at an engagement to mark the 3rd anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II's death. Kensington Palace sources say the Princess of Wales was keen to join her husband to commemorate and celebrate the life of the late Queen. Those are the latest headlines now. More on that Heathrow evacuation shortly, but now let's go back to Martin.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.